Hello, everybody. It's Bill with that college football guy here with another video. Time for the Sun Belt predictions. Our final conference in the predictions. Now, the Sun Belt 14 schools still has divisions. So we're going to do, for this one, we're going to do this West East. How many this one's? I mean, part one's going to have 4 videos. Part 2 will have 3. Part 3 will have 4. Part 4 will have 3. And the last one will have the full recap of the conference standings and who will be the Sun Belt champions. So, part 1, we're going to start with the Eastern Division. We're going to have Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern, and Georgia State. Those will be the first 4 here. So shall we get into this? All right, we'll start off with Appalachian State, App State. The Mountaineers. Vegas has their win total at 8.5 this year. They went 9-5 last season. They beat Miami of Ohio in the Cure Bowl, but Sean Clark's still the head coach. He's 35-18 at 5 seasons at App State. Big thing for them and a lot of the schools, their quarterback's back. Joey Aguilar's back under center. He can make plays. He's dangerous, so he's going to be a playmaker. Like with a lot of the schools on there for the smaller schools, like in the G5, it's a running back by committee situation, so we'll see how that goes. Wide receiver room, actually, one of the few schools, they're pretty much intact. I mean, they had a few little bit of movements, but nowhere near what other schools have had. So they're pretty much back, which poses problems for everybody else in the Sun Belt. The front 6, they run a 3-3-5. They're talented, but they're a bit inexperienced. How well is that going to play out during the season? The linebackers in the secondary, they're going to be the stars of the defense code. They both are the playmakers, so let's see what happens if someone drives by. Do you see the reflection behind me? So we'll see how this goes. So right now, should we get into this? All right. They start off their season at home against ETSU, East Tennessee State. Yeah, that's a dub. Then they're on the road at Clemson. If you watch the ACC predictions, what a shock. Clemson's beating you, App State. Then you're at the road again at East Carolina. I covered this in the Americans predictions. You're beating East Carolina. Then you're at home against South Alabama. This game, I looked at this. You didn't play him last year. Based upon what you guys are doing, this is kind of like a coin flip game because South Alabama seems to get up for the better teams. So they play up to that, but you're at home. You're beating South Alabama. Then you're at home against Liberty. This isn't the same Liberty as last year's team. This is not the same Liberty. This team has lost a lot of talent because they got picked apart too. And Jamie Chadwell wasn't able to get everybody back that he wanted to, and there's some issues there. This Liberty team is not as good as it's been. And with that, and you're at home, App State, I got you beating Liberty this year. Then you're on the road at Marshall. You beat them last year by 22 at home. Even though you're on the road, it's going to be a tougher game. I have you beating them again. And you stay on the road at Louisiana. You just got a way more talent than they do, so you're going to beat Louisiana here. So that's 7 games to start the season. Then you get a bye. Talk about a run, folks. But they're 6-1 in the bye. They're already bowl eligible. So out of the bye, you're at home against Georgia State. You beat them by 28 on the road last year. You're at home. You have a bye the week before. They don't. Everything's going your way. You're beating Georgia State. Old Dominion. You lost to them by 7 on the road last year. You got them at home. You want revenge on this game. This will be their 6th straight game they've had without a bye week. So they're going to be hurting. They're going to be tired. You're at home. You're going to beat Old Dominion. Then you're on the road at Coastal Carolina. You lost to them by 3 at home last year. They've lost some talent. You've lost some talent. It's going to be a barn burner of a hell of a game, but you lost to them at home. Now you got to go on the road, and I'm having you lose to Coastal Carolina. Then you have your second bye. You're at home against James Madison. You beat them by 3 in overtime on the road last year. They got hit a little bit more than you did. You have the week to prepare. They don't have the week to prepare. This is the bye week was was great for you for the timing of this. For timing for this. So I have you beating James Madison at home. And you finish the season on the road at Georgia Southern. You beat them by 28 last year. I don't know why the light faded out like that, but that's crazy. But by 28 at home last year. Um, yeah, you're beating them again. So App State goes 10-2, 7-1 in conference. Wow. Now we go to Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers. Vegas says you win total at 6.5. You win 8-5 last season. You beat San Jose State in the Hawaii Bowl. Tim Beck, he comes as head coach. This is his second season since Jamie Chadwell went to Liberty, because Hugh Freeze went to Auburn. We have a QB battle going between Ethan Vasho and Michigan State transfer. I forget the name right here. Noah Kim. He's going to be the new starting quarterback. We're going to see how that goes. Another team situation is running back by committee. That's going to be kind of common here. Wide receiver room is going to be a problem for them. A lot of transfers, so it's kind of in flux, and there is a depth issue. They have wide receivers, but they don't have as many as they should, at least for my taste. So I think depth could be a problem. The offensive line, that's also going to become an influx because you lost 3 of your 5 starters. How well is that going to play out? Defensively, you run a 3-man front on the defensive line. You lost all 3 starters. So you got to replace the whole defense front. The linebackers, though, they're the strength of this team. They're the strength of the defense. They fly around and make plays, and they're going to have to. They're going to have to correct the pass rush, because I don't know if the guys they brought in are enough to bring it in up there. The secondary is very good. They do make plays. They do force INTs. And if the transfers come in develop, they could actually be very good, if almost excellent. The damn phone keeps doing this crap to me. But oh well. So shall we get into this? All right. Seriously, I got to work on this thing here because it's... don't you just love it when it does stuff to you? All right. Coastal Carolina starts the season on the road at Jacksonville State, Conference USA school. You played them last year, home and home. You beat them by 14 at home. You're on the road, maybe a little bit closer game, but I have you beating Jacksonville State. Home against William and Mary, yeah, it's a dub. On the road at Temple, I covered this in the American predictions. You're beating Temple on the road. Home against Virginia, cover those in the ACC predictions. They got more talent than you are. You're losing to Virginia. Then you get your bye. You come out of the bye against Old Dominion. You beat them by 4 on the road last year. Now you're at home. You're beating them again. On the road at James Madison, you lost to them by 44 at home last year. 44. And you're now going on the road. Yeah, that's an L. You're losing that one. Now you're at home against Louisiana. This series, I'm looking at this as like kind of looking at Louisiana's roster and I did the predictions for them. This is kind of even. So yours is kind of like a coin flip for you guys. Like, who's at home? You're at home, so you're beating Louisiana. Then you get the bye. You come out of the bye at Troy. Then another coin flip type game. But you're on the road for this game. Now, even though they're going through a lot of flex, you have your problems too. And it's going to Troy, Alabama to play the Trojans. I have you losing to Troy. You're at home against App State. We literally just covered the fact that you're beating Appalachian State at home. On the road at Marshall, you beat them by 28 on the road last year. They want revenge. They're at home. And you've lost a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent coming back on there. This is a game that I was really debating on this one, but I think Marshall catches you, Coastal Carolina. I think you're losing to Marshall. And then you're at home against Georgia Southern. You lost them by 10 on the road last year. I think you're going to rebound from that, come back, and you're going to beat Georgia Southern at home. Finish on the road at Georgia State. Georgia State is just not that good of a team. You lost to them by 13 at home last year. What the hell is that all about? You want revenge for that. Georgia State, this is a murder run for them. They kill off their 2 byes in their first 4 games. This will be their 8th consecutive game to finish the season. This is nuts. This is poor scheduling. And they're going to be beat up, everything else, and they're worse than you. Even though they're on the road, you're beating Georgia State on the road to finish 8-4, 5-3 in conference. Now let's talk Georgia Southern, shall we? Georgia Southern, the Eagles, 6-7 last year. You lost to Ohio in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Clay Helton, former USC head coach, now is in his third season. He's been 12-14 in 2 years at Georgia Southern. Um, we have another QB battle here. I think we have J.C. French, I think his name is, and Indiana transfer Dexter Williams to be who's going to be the starting quarterback. No real insight into that one. We'll see what happens. Jalen White is back to lead the team in the running back room to be your leading rusher, which is big because you need him. Offensive line has experience, but the fact is depth may be an issue, so all the incoming transfers need to step up. Wide receiver room is it's kind of okay. Defensively, the defensive line's got to improve the pass rush. For the defensive line wise, there was no pass rush. That has got to improve. Linebacker and secondary, both of them, a lot of transfers coming in. Both teams, both units, the linebackers room and the secondary, both are going to have those transfers step up and fill in immediately, or it's going to be a long road here. All right, so shall we get into this? Georgia Southern starts off the season at home against Boise State. If you watched the Mountain West Conference previews last week, they're losing to Boise State at home. Then they're on the road at Nevada, another Mountain West Conference school. They're on the road cross country, but Nevada is absolutely horrible. They're one of the worst teams in the country. You're beating Nevada on the road. Then your state go back home to play South Carolina State. Yeah, that's a dub. You get that win. On the road at Ole Miss. Good Lord. You go to Oxford to play Ole Miss. We cover that in the SEC predictions, and what a shock. You're losing to Ole Miss. Then you're on the road at Georgia State. You beat them by 17 at home last year. They're not the town, as I just mentioned. With Georgia State, with the previous team, with talking about Coastal Carolina, they're in a very bad way. You're beating Georgia State. Then you get your bye. You're out of the bye at home against Marshall. You lost to them by 5 on the road last year. You are wanting revenge. You got the bye week beforehand, and I'm thinking you beat Marshall. Home against James Madison. You lost to them by 28 on the road last year. Now you're at home. It's not going to matter. You're losing to James Madison again, even though you're at home. On the road at Old Dominion, you lost to them by 3 at home last year. You're traveling on the road. I think you're losing to Old Dominion again. Then you're stay on the road at South Alabama. This is a coin flip game. I think you're both kind of in the same spot. Well, the problem is you're on the road. I've got South Alabama beating you. Then you get the bye. You come out of the bye at home against Troy. You got the bye to prepare. You're at home. Troy's not the same Troy that's won the Sun Belt the last couple of years. You're going to beat Troy. Then at Coastal Carolina, literally just did this. You're losing to Coastal Carolina. Finish off the season at home against Appalachian State. I literally just covered this. You're losing Appalachian State, which makes you 5-7 in the Sun Belt, 3-5 in conference. And now we come up to Georgia State. Vegas has got your win total at 4.5. They're not expecting you to do much. You finished 7-6 last year. I mean, that was a great year. You beat Utah State in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, but you lost your head coach. Del McGee comes in as your new head coach. He was previously the running backs coach at Georgia. No real head coaching experience. This is on there. Offensively, Georgia Tech transfer Zach Gibson appears to be the front runner to be your starting quarterback. There appears to be kind of a running back by committee look, but not quite. Well, that may shake loose during the season. We might have an emergence of a back. There's a couple of candidates, but the problem is I've looked at multiple things in here. I've looked at my thing for the stats. I've got one thing, but people have to say other. Somebody's going to shake loose to be the number one back. I don't know who. Wide receiver room, y'all got some big wide receivers. I mean, like 6'4", 6'5". You got some size, but they're not very experienced. How well is that going to work? Offensive line, you didn't stop anybody. A lot of plays made in your backfield. That has to improve. Defensively, they're a bit undersized even for G5 standards for me, but they've got to produce, even though they're undersized, produce a pass rush because you don't produce one. You need to do that. Linebacker room is going to have to make all the plays. They're pretty damn good, but they're going to have to make plays to help out on there, get some pass rush to help. The secondary, though, I think is going to be the stars of the defense, and they're going to have to be because they're not going to get a pass rush, so they're going to be alone on islands, and they're going to have to make up for that and make some plays. So shall we get into this? Georgia State, starting off the season. Oh, boy. On the road at Georgia Tech. Yeah, I covered this in the ACC predictions. You're losing to Georgia Tech. Then you come home to play UT Chattanooga. Yeah, that's a dub. You got that win. Then you're home against Vandy. That was covered that in the SEC predictions. Vandy's bad, but they're still better than you, so you're going to lose to Vandy. Then you get your bye. This is what I was talking about when I talked about 8 straight games for Georgia State. You have your bye. You come out of the bye and play Georgia Southern, which I literally just talked about. You're losing to Georgia Southern. Then you get your second bye. Who scheduled this? 3 games bye, 1 game bye, 8 straight. Who did this? Conference did this? Somebody needs to get talked to about this because this is stupid and it's going to cost them. So, Old Dominion, the first game out of the break, you lost to them by 1 on the road last year. You're now at home. You have a bye the week before. Get on a good note with this slaughter of a run coming at you. You're going to win this game. Then you're on the road at Marshall. You beat them by 17 on the road last year. But with the losses that you've had and the improvements they've had, I kind of make it a coin flip game. Marshall has you on the road. I'm having you lose to Marshall. Then on the road, App State. Just covered this in the first part of the video. You're losing to Appalachian State. Then you're on the road at UConn. You beat them by 21 at home last year. You have a home and home with UConn. You beat them by 21 on the road last year. At home last year. I think you're going to beat them again on the road in Storrs. You're going to beat them there. On the road at James Madison. You lost to them by 28 at home last year. Now you're on the road. JMU is going to beat you. Home against Arkansas State. This, again, is also... Arkansas State has its issues. We'll get into that when the time comes for that. It's going to be in part 3. But this is kind of a coin flip game. You're at home, so I'm going to have you beat Arkansas State. Then you're on the road at Texas State. Oh, boy. See, now you've done 8... This is your 7th straight game. Texas State's got that offense. You're on the road. You're losing to Texas State. I'm sorry, Georgia State, but that's what's going to happen to you. Finish off the season at home against Coastal Carolina. I literally just covered that a couple schools back. You're losing this Coastal Carolina at home to finish 4-8, 2-6 in conference. So let me get on my paperwork back here. So basically, for the recap for everybody, Appalachian State going 10-2, 7-1 in conference. Coastal Carolina's going 8-4, 5-3 in conference. Georgia Southern's going 5-7, 3-5 in conference, and Georgia State's going 4-8, 2-6 in conference. So I've done my talking. Now you need to let me know what you think about this in the comments. So thanks everybody for watching the video. If you haven't already, please do me the favor, smash the like button, hit the thumbs up. It does help the algorithm. It does help. It does help the video be seen by more people. Commenting on the video helps. Sharing the video helps. Comment on the video, please. Let me know. I made my predictions. We have some Sunbelt fans out there. What did I do right? What I did wrong? You want to cheer me? You want to boo me? You want to rip me to pieces? Let me know in the comments where I screwed up, okay? Or I did right. Let me know in the comments. As I said, share the video if you want to. If you haven't done it already, first off, everybody subscribe to the channel. Thank you. And if you haven't done already, check out some of the other videos I've done. They're not all scheduling videos. There is a playlist up there. It's going to be called 2024 Predictions. It's going to have all of the schedule predictions. And when we come to the off season, I'm going to be going back and grading myself and how I did with these videos. Yeah, you can make fun of me then. But, yeah, if you like the videos I have, subscribe to the channel. You know, on the way to 700 subscribers, slowly but surely, and that crawl up to 1,000 to make some things happen. So, thanks everybody for watching. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. Part 2 is coming up tomorrow. Oh, boy. It's going to be interesting. So thanks, everybody, for watching. Hope everybody's having a great day. Please be safe out there, and please be good to each other.